I need to take a minute to figure out what I'm going to do for music now. The next, like, 2 minutes might be a good time for you to throw out ideas. Or else I'm just going to pick something. And I might pick something you don't like, so you'll have to deal with it at that point. Alright, I'm not seeing anything, so I choose this thing. It's not very long. It's only 17 minutes, so I'll have to choose again soon, but maybe in that time you'll have another idea yourselves. Okay, so we need to insert something right here. Alright, what to do next? Well, the next thing on the to-do list says Fucon's build in other panel situation. Let's see what that's all about. In theory, I should be able to build in another panel by doing... let's do it this way. Yeah, okay, it works. So, there's no bug. I just need to explain something to Fucon, because I believe I know what the problem is. So, the trick is, I don't know where you were putting this execute command for change active panel. But, for example, if you were trying to invoke this version and you put it right here, that's not going to fly. That's not going to work. Because when you push parameters onto the parameter stack and then you execute a command, that clears the parameter stack. So it pushes all these parameters on here for build and then it loses them. I'm guessing that's probably what happened with you. You probably somehow accidentally weren't filling this or had cleared the parameters for build. Would be my guess. I can't be sure because I haven't seen your code, but if you want to send me your code, and I can take a look if that's not what you think the problem is. But yeah, that's something to be aware of. There is, if you want to call a command and use the same parameter stack again later, you can look here, and I don't actually have an example of it in here anywhere. There's this right here. So if you use the keep stack version of it, right, if you you absolutely only want to change active panels under a certain condition, but it's like in that, if I go back to here and I go to build, right, if you're on this one and you want to do it in here because you only want to change if you're actually going to build, but it also is like pushing parameters beforehand, and how do I, like, I don't want to do the logic twice, well then you can do keep stack, I believe is the name of it, and then right, and then this will work as well, because this doesn't actually clear the stack. And yeah, I think that's probably the stack thing isn't super awesome. There's like, I want to be able to do a thing where you can like save parts of the stack and like do sub things and stuff. I haven't really figured out the details yet, because it became clear when I was doing this loop here that I wouldn't always want to it to do the same thing. Like, I don't necessarily just want to push parameters and call a thing. I suppose in this case I could just do this, but the reason I don't want to do that is I want to push this dir string on first, basically. Okay, so screen does not always paint on open. Ugh. Darn it, that sucks. I hate this kind of bug. There we go. Okay. So why did you not paint? Why would you not paint? I'm guessing that it makes sense. I just haven't figured it out yet. That's what I'm guessing. Okay, I want a breakpoint in here. Okay, so it does send that message. Oh, don't care about that. And then, redraws the screen. I'm guessing target size is nothing, so nothing happens there. Right, and then it's gonna work. Okay. So it's basically a matter of the initial paint happens before 4coder has filled up the rendered push buffer. And then that means when it does the rendering, there's nothing in there to actually render yet. Just getting some crumbs out of my keyboard. That means that I need to... Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So the question is, what do I want to do? It's like, I need to have 4coder... I don't know. Okay, here's an idea. This is kind of weird, but I think this is the way to go. I've sort of always thought that the initialization scheme is a little janky, and I'm just going to make it worse, but it's actually going to be moving towards the state that I would prefer it to be in, so why not? Oh, what that means I have to call that in the wrong thread. See, the problem is, this right here is the only thing that's allowed to fill that buffer up with stuff. Once it begins this loop here, it's going to send the paint message before this thread ever fills the push buffer. Usually, that's going to happen. Uh-oh, what did I do? Okay. So that time it never did redraw. Yeah, it doesn't look any different than before. Okay. So this paint and this paint both get sent, but nothing happens. What is that all about? Win32 bars dot first. So that's redrawing, actually, but what about the target? Is it got anything in it? It's got stuff in it, okay. Okay, so all of this is whatever, it's fine. Oh, that's why that's working. Okay. Okay, why? Why does that not end up going through at the right time is the main question here. Of course it's gonna work now. So many different things can accidentally cause it to get that paint message again. As soon as it gets the paint message, it fixes. But why doesn't it get the paint message originally? Okay, here's an idea. Current heat count 1. So it only came through there once. Interesting. I'm guessing that's from this. What is that function begin render section doing here? Is that under helper.cpp? What about the Win32 end? I don't think it ever requires that lock. Which doesn't seem like it should matter, but who knows. Okay. So what if I say system acquire lock, render lock, system release lock, render lock. I don't see how that can fix this problem, but it seems like that should be in there maybe. Yeah. Okay. So that's been hit 0 times now? Really? That's weird. Uh-oh. That's not better. Oh, I see. Okay, so I was acquiring and releasing that. Well, I don't really like doing it down there. I'll do it up here. It's better. That's actually the spot where it's relevant. Okay, so the weird part is the fact that this appears to be getting called at least once, and so here's something that's annoying. They've got this hit count column, but it doesn't seem to actually, it just tells you what the hit count condition is. It doesn't tell you, okay, there it is, currently 0. That's what I was looking for. They're both currently 0. That's weird. Okay, anyway, the point is these both got hit once. It just doesn't update those numbers because why would you want those to be live if the program is currently running? Okay. Where does the first 4coder paint message come from, I wonder? We send it there. We receive it there. Yeah. Alright, I want to see when we call this. Okay, so let me put on some music real quick. Okay, so we're sending that for this reason I would expect. And at that point, we have not had any hit points here. Okay, so we're about to hit that, and you're telling me that target 240. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is say this approach isn't going to work. What I want to do instead is over here, whenever a paint message comes through, I want to immediately go output debug string str. I believe is the function I'm looking for. And str will contain target size right, you gotta spell string out. I almost always forget that you spell string with an ing on the end, you know? It's one of those things programmers know about. Awesome. Okay. Okay, they're both saying that they have a size of 240, which is annoying to me. What if I... Yeah, they still are saying 240, which means 240 is the number, is the size of this thing right now. And yet it's drawing incorrectly for some other reason. It's not about the timing, they are getting the data they need. Okay, so what could that be then? Launch, no, Win32, redraw screen. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. You are also doing that. Are you telling me you painted that? And then threw it away? Because the next time I paint it, it works. And it stays there. So it's like it's painting it. And then throwing it away. Why would it do that? this is not the kind of bug I want to work on. Huh. Well, you look at that. It did, in fact, trigger this before it triggered either paint or 4coder paint. So maybe it's triggering that way too soon, and then that's not it. Okay. What about... Huh. Okay, so I haven't totally come to understand all of this yet. But for some reason, it's not showing me the screen right away if I don't double buffer that way. And to my understanding, the reason for that is if you have one buffer, what happens is that buffer is getting I'm gonna double check this, but that's kind of annoying. I have to learn more about how that works. Shoot, mouse was in the wrong spot. Yeah, okay, so that's it. Or part of it. One thing I could do real quick is say... See, it shows, pops the window up, but doesn't draw it right away. I kind of want to put that on, like, a thing I want to look into. There was the other one. Oh, the how to live without, how to get fast repaint. Do I really need double buffering? Alright. Unimportant flag for buffers. They don't ask to save. Yes. That's an awesome one. Oh man. Hey, Canoocles. Alright, let's see. By the way, this is not my 4th hour streaming, this is my 3rd hour streaming, I think. But, I have to check. I've just finished 3 hours, I think. So I'm on my 4th, probably. Yeah, right, something like that. Anyway. The important thing right now is that I find the editing file struct, and you see it's got settings and state. B32 unimportant. Okay, let's see if I can do that, and then settings unimportant equals 0. Nice. And then whenever somebody does something like, oh, I don't know, build, they create one of these files, they make it super locked. I'd kind of like to say that that file, when you look at the settings, is unimportant. Okay. Oh. Okay. Not quite right. Unimportant. If it's... Alright, so we're actually going to change this. This will be pretty cool. Not only that, what we'll do is instead we'll go over here into this function. When we ask about the sync situation, do I want to lie? Do I want to insert a thing that says sync good, sync behind OS? I'm going to introduce a new function, so I'm not going to make this into a lie. But basically, buffer needs save. Right. And what'll happen there is we'll say, here's my result. It'll default to 0. And then we'll say, look, if the file on settings says that this thing is not unimportant, if unimportant is false, then important must be true. And in that case, if the buffer get sync of the file is equivalent to unsaved, then yeah, I would say this needs some saving. Now look at all those extra brackets I typed. We can actually get rid of them since that's all that contains for now, making my lines of code artificially smaller, which is very cool. Okay. See how that goes. So now, with all the bug fixing that has happened so far, I can hit Control comma there, and then hit Alt M. That'll build, and then Control Shift K. What? Oh, I didn't actually change this. I didn't change the code that does the query. I see. I see. If file, if buffer needs save, file, else. So these are circumstances under which it need not save. Bless me. Whatever that means. And then I'll paste that there. And there we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Thank you, Canuckles. Alright, there we go. That pretty much does it for bug fixing. What next? What next? Let's see. I have to be honest, I don't feel like going ahead and doing the rest of this right now. I'm looking over all of it, and none of this is really... I feel like I'm all spent on 4coder work. I'm gonna switch to another project for fun now. Yes, save that. That's kind of useful. Let's see. I see a question in here from XYZPL29. Have you ever used SFML? If you're talking to me, the answer is yes. I used it when I made a game called Push. Saw4TV asks, what would happen if you open a file over that buffer? I assume you mean the compilation buffer. The compilation buffer would still exist. It wouldn't discard it. Alright, so what I want to work on real quick bin mol3 is this little project. So first I need to mark this spot. That seems like a bad idea. I'll do it this way. Okay. Move forward. Wait. Move forward, read in. Whoop. Subtract 1. No. Man, that's pretty tough. Okay, so I need the input loop to continuously input zeros and ones, but I'll have to encode those as ones and twos and subtract one from each one. So that's going to look like this. Okay, so what I can do is I'll say do that, move over 1, whoops, read in, continue doing that until I filled out the whole thing and I hit a 0, at which point go back 1, subtract 1, go back 1 again, pretty hard. Oh man, how do I get in an input loop of ones and zeros and mark it at the beginning somehow? Unless I just do everything as ones and twos. That fills us up with ones and twos. It's gonna think that, okay, that's kind of gotta be correct. Then I end on a 0 at the end. I want to go back and subtract. Subtract the one we plussed. Subtract another one. Go back again. Plus. Okay. Yeah, that does it. And then that gets us right there. So this line here is read in input, mark beginning and end with a minus. Okay. I'm going to make sure that works first. So let me make a quick test scenario. what I should add is the ability to see memory. That would make this much more useful. State.mem. That's not right. But I think that this is probably reading in some other files still, actually, now that I think about it. I want binary multiply by 3. Binary multiply by 3.in. Alright, so that worked. Cool. So there's step 1. Step 2 is going to be I need to shift the end 255 over 2. So that should get me to move to end marker. I want to move it over 2, so that's not too hard. Take the current thing over 2, subtract 1. Back 3. Move end marker over 2. Then go to highest bit. Okay. I want to see if that works. Awesome. Great. Okay. Okay, now what you gotta do is to multiply by 3. If you have a 0, just ignore this cell and move back 1. If you have a 1, then move to the right and add 1, and then move back 2. Okay. So the way that works is, boom. If I have a 0, this will get skipped. If I have a 1, then move to the right 1, add 1, move back 1, subtract 1, add that back in. No, move back 1, subtract. That gets me out. But I need a second layer where I add that back in. Subtract 1. Move to the right 1. gets me out of that loop. But I still need to add one back in here, and then move to the left one again. Let's say I just did that, then that loop would never end, right? Okay, so we'll say do that, move back one, subtract one, end the loop, add it back on, and then move to the left, whoops, again, and do the same thing on the next one. So move left again, it's not 0, so you copy it, you add it over one, and boom. Now the trick is, at each step, you want to terminate this thing, not if you hit a 0, but if you hit a -1. So boom, take that back out, boom, take that back out, and then once you find it, okay, for each one, add one to the cell to the right, and on start marker. Let's see if that is correct. Memhead is 0, good. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Not sure that that's correct. What was my input? One, 0, 1, 1. 1, 0. Yeah, that right there should not be a 2. That should be a 0, right? No, that should be a 1. This should be a 2. Not this. Okay. So I might have to step through that part. Do I still have a debug symbol in my interpreter? I don't. Alright. Well, I'm going to add a debug symbol. Okay. So I've got 4 on there. And now I'm going to step through one at a time and see what happens. I want to keep this below this so that I can see the head as well. Okay. Next. Show me where the head is after each step, please. to the right. No, begins a loop, subtracts 1. Moves to the right, adds 1, moves back. Subtracts 1, ends the loop, adds 1. Moves back, adds 1. Continues the loop, subtracts 1, moves into the inner loop, moves to the right, adds 1, moves back, subtracts 1, exits the loop, adds 1 back in, moves to the left, adds 1, continues the loop, subtracts 1, does not begin the inner loop, hopefully, and then it adds 1. That's tough. Alright, so the pesky one spot is right here after I exit the loop by clearing this to 0. What if I was doing this in just one step instead of 2? Oh, man. Yeah. Not sure. I want to add 1 to the right if the current cell is 1 and add 0 to the right if the current cell is 0 without destroying this current cell. Seems like I'm going to need something more sophisticated, like a marker inside of the memory at all times to keep track of where I am, sort of permanent address mark, which I don't really feel like working on, actually. Alright, so that little detour was good. Let's see. Go back to 4coder now. Alright, I'm going to do the next thing on the list. That seems to be the only thing I can do since I'm going to overthink it if I pick and choose. Success message when the compiler works. So, that's not too bad. CLI, let's see, child process. There we go. What I'm interested in is begin update, update step, end update. Alright, so this right here represents the end of the process, right? If this happens, it means the process kicked the bucket. So first thing I need to do is whenever that happens, I need to get information about the exit code of the process. Okay, I can't remember what the correct interface is here. One minute, I'm looking for a new music too. Don't know. Okay, so I need what was it? It's Win32 API get child process exit codes. That's not what I'm. It's not process. Terminating a process. Retrieve the termination status of the specified process. A handle to the process. LP exit code. The function returns immediately if the process has not terminated and the function succeeds. The status is still alive if the process has terminated. Status returned is one of the following values. The exit value specified in the exit process or terminate process function. Okay, so I believe I want this function, get exit code process. Okay, awesome. And then if I come back here, I need to create an edit spec. Mount. Yes, I'll work on that. Okay. So let's see, we need grab some space there. Okay. And then what I need to do is look at my string.h again. I think I'm going to make actually just string equals make fixed width string around string space. Alright, hold on, let me take a minute and ask some questions. Or answer some questions, because I see there's a couple questions that I missed. Cuber Caleb, what did you miss? Not much. I'm not sure when you left though, so maybe a lot, hard to be sure. Vainglory Slayer, if you're still with us, what I'm working on right now, I'm working on 4coder. I don't know if you know how much you know about the project, but there's some information down below. Right now what I'm working on is the compile in editor feature is working, but it doesn't, when it's done, it doesn't tell you that, oh, the build succeeded or failed. And it's kind of just like, did it work? Hard to be sure. So I ended up, I ended up deciding to add in a message at the end that says, hey, it exited either successfully or failed with exit code blah. And the assumption for now is just going to be if it exits with code 0, that's success, and anything else is a fail. Because that's generally standard. Okay, Caleb, I worked for a bit and then I took a break because I didn't feel like doing 4coder stuff for a little bit there. So I think for about 10 or 20 minutes I was just playing around with my brainfuck interpreter. Anyway, let's see, append. Onto string. Hello, mainframe boss. I started coding when I discovered GameMaker was kind of how I started, and then I just made some games and learned from there. And then more recently, in the last year or so, I was able to learn a lot by following some coders online who are really good and learning how they work. So let's see. Process exited. Successfully with code blah. Successfully with code blah. If proc CLI dot exit equals 0, we can do this, else this, and then append int. I hope I have int to yes, awesome. String, and the int is the exit int. And then down here, the length is the string's size. Let's see. Let's see. Vainglorious Slayer. Do you make a living writing code? No. I mean, I don't make a living. I make some money on my Patreon, and I also make some money now because I'm a staff member at the University of Michigan as an IA. So I teach some programming related topics here, but I'm mostly a student. Mainframe boss. Most of what I learned I did not learn at school. I am at school, but I learned most of what I learned from either books or experimentation on my own. That's good, that's good, that's good. Okay. Oh, those are backwards, that's kind of weird. String dot, I think it's string again. Yes, it is. Awesome. Let's see. If that worked, then when I come over here, app color, and I build, there we go. Cool. So it shows when the process exits. What if I introduce a bug or a compilation error? Lobel, for example. That's not what I wanted. I wanted it to return a non-integer or a non-zero. Interesting. Interesting. Ooh. There's a bug, huh? Look at that. I wonder if... Oh, that one works. Wait, oh, I haven't... Yeah, that one's working. But that one isn't working. Alright, gotta track down. Insofar as he knows what's going on, yeah, it's a bat that's being called, so... Well... Yeah, it looks like Emacs doesn't actually differentiate between those either. I see. So it's okay. So it's just a matter of if you mixed your batch up correctly, which I don't super care about looking into. go with that. Alright. Keeper Caleb, that's how do you think I'm getting output from the compiler? I mean, when the compile and editor happens, I have to get those strings from standard out, so. Alright, so, I found a bug that I need to work on, so let me go to do, and then, oh, the blueness is gone. Oh well. Alright, so here I need, the problem was, problem with clipping panel. Okay. So when I rendered that second panel, let's start by looking at the begin render section. There's supposed to be a spot right at the beginning of these. Panel, draw a rectangle back. If it's a view, push the clip rectangle and pop it. Yeah, so I definitely shouldn't have been able to go outside of the inner rectangle of the panel. Keeper Kill, I don't do anything like that right now. I could pretty easily add sort of a filtering hook into custom. And you can kind of do stuff like that anyway by, like, say you let the CLI, the command line thing go until it finishes, and then you write a custom thing that reads what that does, or like reads what's in there and does something with it. I don't think you can't modify it very easily though. You'd have to like make you could make like a thing that opens another empty buffer that you can modify and write out a modified version of the text there. But that would be overkill. There's gonna be better primitives for stuff like that soon. Okay, so the problem with this clipping panel, with clipping this panel here, and I want to start by looking at 3623, make sure that the numbers there make sense. I don't think they could be wrong, because those have been right for like forever. So, and I haven't changed anything near them in a long time. Okay. Good. That's a reasonable clipping rectangle. And push clip. Target clip boxes. Uh-oh. I see what went wrong. Alright, so this is a pretty serious bug. At some point along the way, I switched to a system where I didn't render this, yeah. So when I do draw, set, clip, yeah. Draw, push, clip. Yes. Okay. You know what? I need to take a short break, and I'll be back in 5 minutes to actually fix this.